And welcome back. Well, we know it takes great sacrifice to join the military, and as thanks, the government offers many benefits to veterans.
Yeah, but sometimes there can be a lot of confusion, red tape, and those heroes may be denied what's rightfully theirs. Jim Brzezinski is back from Tabak Law to talk about how they support military veterans as well as their families. Great to see you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I like this topic, and I think, you know, right now we've talked a lot about health care, Medicare as well as regular health care. Let's talk a little bit about the idea of hiring an attorney, because I think some veterans know that there are probably some benefits that they deserve, but they just don't know how to cut through the red tape, and they think, well, I maybe need an attorney, but that's very expensive.
Sure. Well, for one thing, we don't take any money up front. We will evaluate a case for free, and should someone decide to sign up with us, we only get a fee if we win the case and get them some benefits. So there's really no cost to check it out.
What do you think are some of the other benefits of having an attorney? Because a lot of times I feel like these are things you just can't do on your own.
Sure. Well, let me give you an example. I actually I have a client who just came and signed up with us, signed up for one thing, and I'm going through his file, and I said, well, why didn't you apply for this? You would qualify for this benefit. Sent in the application. 3 months later, he got a check for $480,000.
Wait, I thought you were going to say $480.
No,
it's $480,000.
Yes,
for a benefit
all the way back to 2003, and it was something that was just sitting right there, and you know, no one had ever looked at it, and I found it, and he called me, and I was floored. You know?
I'm floored.
Yeah, and what if some experts need to be involved?
So that's one thing that, you know, as an attorney we can definitely help with. There's certain times when cases will get a medical opinion from the VA that is unfavorable, and unfortunately the only way to overturn an unfavorable medical opinion is with your own expert, or you know, an opinion from your doctor. Now the unfortunate thing is that if people are treating at the VA, it's very hard to get those doctors to give an opinion that's in conflict with another VA opinion. So what we end up having to do is go out, find experts that are not linked to the VA, and help to get those opinions that can go against, you know, what the VA is using to deny them.
My father was treated at the VA, and it was difficult.
Yes.
So to say the least. So I think any family member that's dealing with that can relate and has some sympathy for that feeling. So how soon could you get involved in a claim if somebody has an issue and they're hearing it and saying, maybe I need you? Sure.
Typically we don't get involved unless there is has been some sort of a decision already made that the veteran disagrees with. Now, it may be a denial, it may be an approval where they're just not satisfied with the percentage of disability that they're earning. But typically, we don't get involved until there's at least been one decision on the case. Now, if we're, like in the case I told you before, where if we find a new claim through our working on one claim, we find another claim, of course, we'll help them file that new claim.
Yeah.
And we usually have really good results.
What types of claims do you handle? Because there's so much conversation, I think, lately, as there should be, about PTSD in particular.
Yes. Well, we definitely handle PTSD, and the PTSD claims we handle can either come from an actual event in, you know, in a war period or during the service. It can be something where they're, you know, actually engaging with the enemy. It can be something where they're assaulted by a fellow officer. It could even be something where it's just harassment. So anytime there's some sort of an event that leads to a medical or a mental condition later on, we'll take those cases. On top of PTSD, we'll take really anything where a current disability is related to something that happened in the service. And you mentioned the unemployability issue before too. That's one thing we really have a good track record with, because when a veteran is unable to work because of their service-connected disability, they can get an automatic 100% rating on that disability, even if it doesn't meet the 100% criteria in the regulations.
Talk a little bit about your background, because I think it's interesting to people. You've been doing a lot of this work with veterans since you were in law school.
Yeah. So when I was in law school, I started working at the VA, and I actually was making decisions on veterans' cases at that time as to whether they qualify for benefits or not. you know, and it was a great job. Unfortunately, I came to a point with law school where I had to either decide to, well, I was going nights at that time, and I decided I had to, I just wanted to finish law school. So I had to quit the VA to do that. And I started working for Tabak Law, who did Social Security at the time. They had several veterans that were looking for help with the VA. And, you know, I told them that I worked at the VA, I'm going to law school. And they literally waited for me to graduate law school. So I had about, you know, 15 to 20 clients set up to help with veterans benefits upon graduation from law school.
Yeah. That's
really
amazing.
cool.
I just love
That
it.
background, I think, is great. And another thing I think is absolutely wonderful, I want to make sure that we mention this, is that you've just opened a new Veterans Benefits Center. It's located on 48th and National, which is directly across from the VA hospital. You also provide free wills to all veterans as well as their spouses. Here's the information on your screen right now. You can call Tabak Law now for a risk-free, no-obligation VA disability compensation case evaluation. They'll take a look at it for no cost. Call them at 414-351-4400. You deserve it. They deserve it for themselves and for the people who love them to look into this. I feel like if you go to tabakattorneys.com, you can also find out more.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Good to see you.